quiet place within my heart. I will make a quiet place, a quiet place within my life, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place. Watches me every Sunday. He's online. He's online. He watches every Sunday and gives me some feedback. So thanks for all your love, John. Okay.
So this is the month of love. We're going to do
So this year we are recognizing somebody that is very
talking about the study of clouds. And this is a profound idea that came from Dr. Ernest Holmes. In this book I'll be speaking from this morning or the quote anyhow, and the little story comes from the book called How to Change Your Life by Dr. Ernest Holmes. But it's one of those books that was compiled after he passed. It wasn't published until 1982. So it's like, I love that idea that there are secret writings that nobody knew about before. And then suddenly we get this great book. It's a new book to us by someone who's been gone since 1960. But here we can still have great works. I hope somebody publishes me after I die. I have a lot of stuff partly written. That would be great, because I don't have the patience for it now. But I moved, like many of you, I'm a transplant from California. Hugh and I came here in 2011. And one of the most remarkable things about moving to the desert when you are a third generation native Californian is the sky. And we never got note. He writes these words about science. He says, scientists show us that energy, an aspect of mind, is an interchangeable. It is interchangeable with substance, and it's everywhere. It's within us, it's around us, and it's filling up all the space and everywhere. There's an everywhere-ness about it, he says. Everything we can see and touch and taste and smell or contact in any physical way is just some aspect creating an atmosphere of to get another person to see exactly what you're seeing. So you see something, they see something else, and you take turns. But meanwhile, the wind is blowing up there in the sky, and the clouds are changing shape. sky and the, you know, trying to control the clouds in nature. Ralph Waldo Emerson had a great way of talking about it. I'm teaching foundation right now, and we're about to do this great exercise that I made up 100 years ago. And it is from the quote where Emerson says, if we study nature, the more we study what is God made, the things that humankind couldn't make, you know, like I can make a tomato grow in my, well, maybe. Sometimes you can, sometimes you're not so good at it. But I can't make a tomato seed, right? We still need, in order to make the seed that holds all the potential, that's a God-given gift. And science can play around with it and try and duplicate it and clone things, but the seed itself is a potential. What is in our life already? How can we take the God-given inherent potential and then make that a part of the truth revealing itself as we live our life story? So we want to study nature. We want to recognize that there's something magnificent about life. We want to look in our daily living. We want to look for, pay attention to expect to see the things that God made that I can't make and you can't make. And then we want to just like get all immersed in it. We want to sprawl out and lay in the sun and let the mud bake on them. And though that might not sound appealing, come on, ladies, most of us have had mud masks on our face. And, you know, we do lots of things to enhance the pleasure and the beauty of our lives. So presence of God right in front of us and right inside of us all the time. Nowhere God is missing. So we want to recognize that, and we want to practice recognizing the intricate gorgeousness of life. We want to be able to pick up a rock and see something, some eternal truth about the stone itself. And then as I examine a rock, then I realize that those mountains that I grew up in front of in the foothill of the mountains in Glendora, that rock is a piece of that, and that's majesty and grandeur and nature expressing in this bold and powerful way. And I want to be able to look at a bird, and I want to see that the bird is as holy as the caterpillar on the ground, away for a minute. We want to know, like, wow, that's an aspect of God right there in my face when the chicken lays an egg. I mean, like, how miraculous is that? And how fortunate were those of you who had chickens when the eggs were still climbing in price. The lizard and the cactus and your herb garden and every tiny little piece of it. We want to practice seeing that, acknowledging it, feeling it, and appreciating it, giving thanks for it. Be big for God, blessed, inspired, and grateful. So we study nature because nature has a lot to teach us. We want to be really good students because nature has a lot to teach us about those invisible. So we want to pay attention. To our mind. It's why we call this teaching the science of mind, the science of how we think. Remember, when James Allen would be asked about the little book, he would always bring attention to the fact that it's based on scripture. And many of us know that What? Where did that come from? I I had a lot on my plate that I had to get done, and I think that started it. And once I got moving, I was able to pray myself through it and have a better experience for the rest of the day. But yeah, we get to choose what to do with whatever's going on. Here's a great quote. I don't know who he is. Luther Burbank, some interesting name. Luther Burbank said, this one makes me laugh. It is well for people who think. So we think, right? It is well for people who think to change their minds occasionally in order to keep them clean. Keep your mind clean, you know? But then he goes on and he says this, but for those who don't think, it is best at least to rearrange your biases once in a while. At the annual meeting, and so this is right. So I just that whole idea of lifting up your head, it just changes my posture, and it's so much nicer than just looking down all the time, which if we don't think about it, it's the posture alone is uplifting. So Monday is that, and then Tuesday is the day where you look the discordant fact, whatever's going on in your life, whatever goodness of God might be missing from your life on Tuesday, you acknowledge it, and then you put a declaration out there. Okay, wait a minute. If God wants my good for me, and my good wants me as much season of Lent is because that is a time for many spiritual traditions to fast, and we are agreeing as a community, if you partake in this, and there is a commitment card right here in the front for you to sign and give back to me so I can pray over it and support you. We are making a commitment to fast from negativity for 40 days. I know it's going to be for yourself, but then you would repeat those 6 lessons in the afternoon or the evening, and you would do them for the people in your life. She called it your ministry or your environment. So it's all spelled out for you. The instructions are in here. There's a little cheat sheet in the front that reminds you what each day of the week is about, but you don't even have to use that because every day tells you very specifically at the beginning what it is. There are quotes from the key people that were the biggest influence on Dr. Ernest Holmes. There are quotes only from Emma Curtis Hopkins, Judge Thomas Troward, and Ralph Waldo Emerson, along with Ernest Holmes. And every Sunday I dedicated to Ernest Holmes because Emma combined Saturday and Sunday. So there is a Holmes on every Sunday, and it correlates with whatever I'm talking about on that particular Sunday, including the primary quotation that I will use. This will be a fun experience for all of us. It starts now, as Phyllis so change things. Holmes, therefore, go back to the beginning of this message, wrote to us and left us these beautiful words to remind us that the mind of God, and our mind imitating the mind of God, these are abstract, invisible, and unformed things that are happening, but that there is something in the mind of God that waits to be called into form, that is waiting to express through us as our lives. So let us not forget there's this creative potential, this universal energy in a very real way that is just waiting to be used. It's formless, but it's waiting for longing to come into form. And it's infinite, so we get to partake in choosing what we want to bring into form in our lives. And if you don't like something you've demonstrated or manifested in your life, just like a weed, pull it out of the dirt and plant a new seed. What is that seed? What is that experience you would rather have? Every belief we've ever had has been a part of creating the life we are living. And the same is true for the world. Every belief that has ever been held in this birth is messy. So every belief we've ever held is we're able to see evidence of it, but also waiting in the ethers. Life, don't just react, but respond. Let's do a good job of training our minds. We're going to do it together, and we are going to see great transformation, not only here in this community, but in our personal lives, in the lives of our loved ones, and in the world at large. That's what I wanted to say today. Good job finding that binder in there. We're going to pray. action that is God is right here. Feeling a sense of unification with that oneness, we allow that mind of God, the one mind, we allow it to be our minds right now. And so there's something transformational happening in this very moment. It is the way we are claiming and opening ourselves to attract that good into our lives and to be able to express through us so that the presence of good and the presence of love this truth, to remember it. For even as that is true in a physical way, in an area of the planet that is remote to us, that the very same truth is unfolding in our physical bodies. That there is a healing and a revealing and a rearranging going on. That the cells of our body respond to these powerful words of prayer.
in the bookstore, and we appreciate all of your donations. So let's say our giving affirmation together. I live in a consciousness of good.
Good to be alive. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. I ain't thinking about my problem.